Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 24 of the Drop It podcast. This podcast is brought to you by the Drop It community, going live on July 1st. The guidelines and the inspiration you need to lose weight and actually keep the weight off and sustain your results forever. If you're listening to this podcast after July 1st, go ahead and check out the link to our community in the description of this episode. Building this community and building this program inside of the community has been so rewarding. We've put about 200 hours into it here in the last 6 or 7 weeks or so, and it's been so fun to take all of this knowledge through the experiences that I've had and to put it all into one community space and into one program. So the community at this point is completely done being built, and the community alone is fantastic. I'm so excited for you to be a part of it. And for y'all to meet each other and be able to share your journeys of where you're at and what you're working through together is going to be so rewarding. But built into the community is also a 12-week program. It's called 12 Weeks to Forever. And that's really the specific guidelines on how to lose weight and keep the weight off. So every week, you're watching a short video and you're making some slight adjustments to habits and routine over time that are going to teach you the mindset that you need and help you build the mindset that you need to figure out what foods to eat to lose weight, how to find foods that are going to support you in losing weight and keeping the weight off that you actually like versus going on some crazy diet of shit that you don't like and cutting out all the foods that you like to eat and then losing all the weight and then just coming back to eating the foods that you were before and then gaining all the weight back. This program, the biggest thing that I've learned is I've got hundreds and hundreds of hours of stuff that I'd love to talk about. And that's what this podcast is, right? It's really just me ranting about my weight loss story and lessons that I learned about it and how you might be able to take some of the lessons that I've learned and apply them to your own life. But there's not a lot of structure to this podcast. And that's actually what I like about it, is that I can show so much of my personality and just be totally unfiltered and say whatever the fuck I want and just go with the flow and have no script. There's no script to this podcast. I'm just sitting in a dark corner right now with the microphone. I'm talking about whatever's coming to mind, looking at a wall. I'm not reading anything. There's very little structure, very little guidelines, but that's kind of the appeal, right? This program has some flowiness to it as well, but it's really structured. It's very, very intentional. What I realized through making this is that I've got hundreds of hours of things that I'd like to talk about and that you would benefit from knowing should you be in a similar position that I was in 6 or 7 or so years ago, where I was fat as fuck and unhappy with my life and depressed and anxious and couldn't find a way to lose the weight. And every time that I lost the weight, I just gained the weight back. But you're not going to watch that much footage. So the biggest hardest part of making this program inside of the community called 12 Weeks to Forever has actually been taking all this knowledge and condensing it down. So instead of how many minutes or how many hours of knowledge, the mindset is, how much knowledge and how much value can I fit into one individual minute? Would you rather watch a 25-minute video that was immensely valuable or a 3-hour video of someone ranting and then just getting to the point at the end, right? So that's been the biggest thing. And I'm going to be writing a book here in the next 18 months to 2 years. And that's been the biggest lesson that I've been learning. That's also going to apply to that book because no one's going to read a 1,000-page book, right? So everyone that is in this community, you can join the community and not do the program if you don't want to. The program is built into the community. So if you want more structure, I'd recommend doing that once you join. But in the community itself, the expectation being in the program and being in the community is that you're going to dedicate 1 hour per week to 25 to 30 minutes of that is going to be a video discussing a specific topic or a specific habit that you'll be introducing for that week or a specific change that you'll be making during that week or an exercise that you'll be doing during that week, a mental exercise. And then another 30 minutes or so are going to be dedicated to actually engaging in the community. So leaving posts and comments on other people's posts about what you're working on, how things are going, what you're struggling with, sharing recipes that are working for you, sharing recipes that have not been working for you, sharing how you're feeling, and actually supporting each other. Because the best way to get something like motivation is to give it to someone else by motivating and supporting them. So it's been so rewarding to see this come to life, and in a way that I wasn't actually really expecting. I feel so much pride looking at this program right now. It almost feels the same as when I look back at videos of myself when I was fat. if I could take the feeling of looking at a video of myself when I was fat. I have this one video specifically where I just say, I'm so certain that I'm going to lose this weight. I've never been so sure in my entire life. To go back and watch that video, if I could take what that does to my body and to my mind, like the feeling of euphoria, and put that into a pill and sell it to you, I would be the wealthiest person in the world. I would be a 100 trillionaire. I don't know what's higher than trillions, but 1,000 trillionaire or more, I'd be the richest person to ever live. But unfortunately, the reason why I'd be the richest person to ever live is because there's no way to do that. And you can't buy health, and you can't buy pride. Pride only comes from doing the thing that is really hard to do. And for most of us, that's losing weight and keeping it off. I feel that same level of pride when I look at this community and when I look at this program. I have no idea how many people are going to join. I don't have a goal on how many people join, but the people that join are going to be extremely positively impacted. And I'm more focused on how am I going to help y'all work through these issues that consumed my life for so long, consumed my thought. Every time that I wasn't doing something, I was just obsessing over food or obsessing over how am I going to burn more calories or obsessing over what diet should I be on. It consumed my fucking life. I looked in the mirror and I'd feel like shit. I was never proud of myself. I always felt like a lazy sack of shit, even though I wasn't always lazy. I was just doing and dedicated and disciplined in the wrong areas. And I always just wanted to be this healthy guy, and I didn't feel like I could. And this process that I put myself through was immensely challenging, and I was immensely unsupported. And I didn't know anyone else that had ever done it without diet pills or weight loss pills, or now everyone's taking Ozempic, which is a different conversation that I am going to record a podcast on. I have some unique perspectives on that, I think. And I wish that I knew other people that were doing it, because I had to put myself through this fire that also consumed my life. The process of losing weight, the last time that I did it, consumed my life. Lost 110 pounds and started gaining the weight back. And then finally found some motivation in resonating with someone else's story. And that's what I want to be able to provide for people. I really built this program for people that feel like they just don't know how to do, or they don't know how to do it. They don't know where to start. They don't know what sort of structure, or they have problems staying motivated or problems sticking to things. This is the exact program that I needed. And the way that I built it, I heard this quote: the best artists are the people that paint art for themselves. They paint the art that they love. And I built this program keeping in mind exactly what I needed when I was in that position. So if you've heard my story multiple times by now, if you're this deep into the podcast, if you resonate with parts of my story, know that I had my story in mind the whole time that I built this program and that I built this community. It was specifically made for my past self. So if you resonate to it, then you're going to really, really, really find immense value in joining this. And I'm so excited to get to know you more on a personal level. The number of people that have reached out to me expressing their own excitement just fuels my fire. And to be able to be living in my purpose and living in alignment with what I'm passionate about, I've never felt like this before. And I just want to say thank you to all of you for giving me the opportunity to do this. And wow, what a world it is that we live in, that I have this opportunity. The topic of the podcast today is, does the quality of your food matter? Does the quality of your food matter when it comes to weight loss, or is it just calories in, calories out? This is a topic that is so widely misunderstood, and so much of the information around this topic comes from people that were never actually fat themselves, or they lost weight not naturally, either with a gastric sleeve or with some very, very specific diet pill or a shot like Ozempic. And there's nothing wrong with those things. Like, everybody has to make their own decisions, and maybe that was the right decision for them, right? No shame and no hate there. I chose to figure this out naturally, and there's a certain pride that I have in doing that, and I want you to experience that pride as well. That's not to say that natural is the only way to do it, or that you might not benefit from looking at some of those other alternatives, but that's a different conversation. A lot of the advice on calories in, calories out and if it fits your macros is coming from people that didn't do it naturally. So what calories in, calories out means is to lose weight, you have to be in a calorie deficit, right? So calories in, meaning how many calories you're consuming per day. Calories out, meaning how many calories you're burning per day. Not through exercise necessarily, but through being alive. So your maintenance calories, that means how many calories, if you ate that exact amount every day, would you stay the exact same weight? So for me right now, my maintenance calories are about 2,600. About 300 of that comes from exercise, and about 2,300 of that comes from just my metabolic rate. So if I laid in bed all day and never moved and ate 2,300 calories a day, I would stay the exact same weight. But I burn about 300 calories a day through exercise. So that increases my maintenance calories to about 2,600. Now, these are all rough estimates, right? If you want to figure out what your maintenance calories are, just Google maintenance calorie calculator, plug in your age, height, gender, weight, and estimated activity level. It'll give you a good place to start. Now, calories out is how many calories you burn throughout a day, resting plus exercise, right? Most of us are pretty sedentary, so I was very sedentary when I was fat as fuck. And I've only really been exercising regularly for the last 4 or 5 years. So if you're not exercising regularly and you're just kind of walking here and there, forget the exercise piece and just figure out your resting metabolic caloric rate or maintenance calories through a calculator online. Calories in, calories out. If you want to lose weight, you have to burn more calories than you consume. So if you're resting, if your maintenance calories are 2,000 and you want to lose weight, you'll lose weight when you eat less than 2,000 calories per day over an extended period of time. Not in one day, not necessarily even in 1 week, but over an extended period of consistent calorie deficit, you will gradually lose weight. So calories in, calories out is true. But calories in, calories out is not the whole story. Envision this. At McDonald's, I'm estimating about 1,100 calories is a Big Mac, a large fry, and a ranch dressing. Big Mac, large fry, ranch dressing, no drink. That's about 1,100 calories. So let's say that you want to get in a 300 or 400 calorie deficit. So that's your go-to dinner. Instead, you replace your go-to dinner with a single cheeseburger and a medium fry. That might be about 600 calories. So that's going to move you from 1,100 to 600 calories. You are now cutting out 500 calories per day. That's plenty to lose weight. That's probably about where you want to be, depending on your how much weight you have to lose and how many calories you need per day. But you want to be in like a 20 to 25% deficit, right? So cutting out 500 calories a day is going to help you lose weight. Calories in, calories out. What it doesn't take into account is sustainability. So the reason I say calories in, calories out is bullshit. It's not because it's not true. It's because it doesn't take into account how sustainable your calorie deficit is and what happens when you hit your weight loss goal. And the reason why is because it doesn't take into account the quality of your food. So you might feel kind of bad if your diet is horseshit. I had the most horseshit diet I've ever seen. I went an entire year without ever eating a homemade meal. I ate takeout only for 365 days. I didn't have food in the house one time unless it was leftover pizza from the night before. Or I'd get like 2 Dairy Queen Blizzards at a time and then keep one in the freezer for the next morning. Or chips sometimes. God, that actually sounds pretty good right now. Anyway, being in a calorie deficit is not the same as focusing on eating foods that are actually nourishing to you. So when you go from that Big Mac meal to that single cheeseburger meal, you're now in a calorie deficit, so you're in a state of hunger or starvation. Naturally, by losing weight, your body's going to be in a state of hunger or starvation, right? Like that's literally what we're doing is intentionally starving ourselves just to a really small degree to lose weight. If you are eating low-quality food like McDonald's or ultra-processed food, you are going to be extremely lacking in a lot of different nutrients, protein being number one, but right closely after that are just all of the different vitamins and minerals that we get from whole and natural foods like lean meat or fatty meat, fruit, rice, vegetables, potatoes, things that have natural vitamins and minerals in them. I call them real foods. People get upset when I say real foods because all foods are technically real. When I say real foods, I mean foods that were not manufactured in a lab. Your McDonald's cheeseburger was literally made in a lab, in a warehouse, and then packaged and then sent to McDonald's frozen and then reheated and cooked in oil and grease. I'm talking about foods that are growing in nature or single ingredient foods. Meat, fruit, rice, vegetables, potatoes are 5 of the go-tos. When you eat more whole and natural foods, you're getting more protein, you're eating lower calorie food naturally, you're also just getting more vitamins and minerals. So when you're transitioning from the Big Mac meal, 1,100 calories, to the single cheeseburger meal, 600 calories, you're in a calorie deficit and you're still lacking in nutrients. You were lacking in nutrients before with the Big Mac meal, but you weren't in a calorie deficit. So you can live there for a while and just be like, I don't feel great because I eat bad food, but you're not starving. When you go in the calorie deficit, you're going to be a little bit hungry and a little bit starving, in addition to lacking nutrients. And calories in, calories out says you can lose weight. What that doesn't take into account is 6 days into that, and you're fucking starving. You have horrible cravings. You're up all night not knowing what to do because your head hurts. And you end up quitting, I'm talking to my old self here, on day 6, and then just starting again at the first of next month and then trying again. So when you go from eating a lot of bullshit food to less bullshit food, meaning lower calorie bullshit food as a way of losing weight, it's going to be really, really fucking hard to sustain that because you're lacking vitamins and nutrients and protein the same way you were before, but you're now also lacking calories. So you're going to have cravings that you're pretty likely to give into. And all of the people online that are making these fucking low calorie swaps as a way to lose weight, I shouldn't say all of them. I speak in absolutes. It's my greatest strength, but also sometimes bites me in the ass. A lot of these people are taking Ozempic or had gastric sleeve surgery. And what happens when you take Ozempic or get a gastric sleeve surgery is that your appetite goes away. The hunger isn't as bad. The cravings aren't as bad. With the gastric sleeve surgery, you literally can't fit as much food in your stomach. With Ozempic, it's literally rewiring your hormones and your brain to not be as hungry. So when someone that had Ozempic goes online, makes a video saying, here's what I used to eat at McDonald's, Big Mac, large fry, and a ranch for 1,100 calories. Here's what I eat at McDonald's now, cheeseburger, medium fry, 600 calories. Now I'm in a 500 calorie deficit. That's not how natural weight loss works, because you're going to feel like absolute dog shit and then quit. The best thing you can do, I did this for 6 consecutive years, guys. I did this for 6 consecutive years. The best thing you can do for your overall health, forget weight, for your overall health is eat more whole, natural, and real foods. Single ingredient foods. Meat, fruit, rice, vegetables, potatoes. There's other ones too. Those are just my 5 go-tos that are 90% of my diet. It's the best thing you can do for your health. You're going to feel a way that you've never felt before. You're going to have energy that you've never... Forget the calorie deficit. Forget weight loss for a second. Just envision eating the same amount of calories you eat right now, but all whole, real, and natural foods. Your quality of life would be so much fucking higher in every single way. Your energy levels, you're going to be more hydrated because of all the different minerals that are in those foods. You're going to retain water in a healthy way versus just being bloated as fuck. You're going to feel energy after you eat versus feeling big crashes and being lethargic and laying down and having heartburn and having horrible shits the next day and being constipated and having bad breath from all the bad food that you ate and having yellow stains on your teeth over the course of years of just eating a bunch of bullshit processed foods with chemicals in them that we can't even fucking pronounce. Like, what are we doing? If you go back, this really became an issue in the 1970s when McDonald's and Coca-Cola were the two things that really started this whole ultra-processed food thing in the Western society, specifically in the United States, but surely in some other Western countries as well. But what happened was these two brands blew the fuck up. And we got really hooked on the idea of convenience. We said, we just want convenience over everything. And McDonald's became a lifestyle, right? We got kids now recognize the McDonald's logo before they know what their own last name is. Look up the data on that. That's how tied into culture these ultra-processed foods and manufacturers and takeout restaurants are. So this isn't your fault, right? This isn't your fault, talking to my old self, Nick, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11 years ago. This isn't your fault. It's not your fault that you're addicted to these foods. It's not your fault that you don't like whole, real, and natural foods because you've never eaten them, so your palate isn't adjusted to them. You're just used to eating bullshit, convenience food. That's not your fault. But it is your responsibility to try eating more whole, real, and natural foods. Again, forget the weight. Just for your quality of life and how you feel and your mood. It's going to be so different. And I'm imagining myself listening to this podcast, should this have been a thing when I was fat as fuck. And I'd be listening to it going, who the fuck is this guy telling me that I should eat more fruit, vegetables, and meat. Like, I'm just not going to, I just wouldn't do it. I just wouldn't do it. I'd go, no, I'm just going to get a small milkshake instead of a large one because it's less calories. If you just keep doing the same fucking thing, how many times have you already tried that? I'm giving you tools. Again, talking to my old self. I'm giving you fucking tools that you can try. Try something else. Try it for a week. Try it for 7 fucking days. Throw the scale away for a second. If you're obsessed with weighing yourself, give your scale to your fucking neighbor and tell him you're going to come back in a week and just spend a week only eating whole, real, and natural foods. Look up list of 50 whole, real, natural foods and just build meals out of those plans specifically. Go in ChatGPT, Google ChatGPT, it's an AI tool, and say, build me 5 meals that are all whole, real, and natural foods. And just eat those. Forget the fucking calories. Don't even count them for a second. Just do that for 7 days and see how you feel. And if nothing changes, then fuck me. And just go back to the way that things were. But it's going to change. I promise that it's going to change. Please try it. Please just try it for a week. It's going to change your whole life. It's not something you have to do forever. You don't have to demonize processed foods. But the quality of your food matters to the quality of your life. It's common sense, but we lost it. We lost it. And before McDonald's and fucking Coca-Cola blew up in the 1970s, there were no fat people. Like, where were the fat people? Go on Google right now and type in images, beaches in the United States in the 60s. And what you're going to notice is that everybody looks like a model. And nobody's fat. Nobody was fat. Now we're all fat as fuck. And we go, I don't know why. Yes, we fucking do know why. Yes, we do. And we know how to fix it. Not only do we know the issue, we also know how to fix the issue. The solution is to eat more whole, real, and natural foods. Now, when you're in a calorie deficit, let's get back to weight loss. When you're in a calorie deficit and eat whole, real, and natural foods, your deficit is going to be so much more sustainable because you're not going to be nutriently starving yourself. You're calorically going to be in a deficit, so you will have some hunger, but you're not going to have cravings that are so bad that you just can't fucking sleep the way that I used to. When I went on and lost weight for the last time, so I gained and lost 50 pounds every year for like 6 years. 5 years ago, I lost 110 pounds and I've kept it off. But when I started that 110-pound journey, I just did the same thing that I did for the 5 or 6 years previously. And I was just, again, eating bullshit food in lower quantities, right? Eating sugary cereal or protein cereal just in lower quantities than I would have before. And I was still eating a lot of ultra-processed foods. So I lost a bunch of weight by kind of starving myself, nutriently starving myself, but I always had nutriently starved myself and didn't know what it was like to properly nourish my body because I'd never eaten fruits or vegetables literally one time. I was 23 years old and had never had a fucking apple. I had never had one. Think of how fucking crazy that is. Never one time. I lost all this weight just doing the same shit. And then I again hit my weight loss goal, felt extremely malnourished, lost like 75 pounds in 6 months. And just started gaining the weight back again for like the 6th or 7th consecutive year. And I'm sitting there in the mirror going, this is my life, man. This is just my fucking life. At least I know my demons. At least I know my problems. Some people don't know their problems. I know mine, and here it is. It's that I just can't figure out how to keep weight off. Gained like 5 or 10 pounds back in the following 2 weeks. And then I started making the switch to more whole, real, and natural foods. And I was like, oh, I'm not gaining weight anymore. Oh, I'm losing weight again. Well, I'm losing weight. Then I went on to lose another 40 or 50 or so pounds in the next year, 6 months to a year, and I've kept the weight off because now I eat whole, real, and natural foods. And that calorie deficit was much more sustainable for the last 40 pounds than it was the first 75 when I was eating more whole, real, and natural foods. So you can lose weight if you're in a calorie deficit, but this isn't about weight loss. It's about keeping the weight off. How many times have you already lost weight? Like, think about every time that you've ever lost weight. If you're listening to this podcast, then you still have weight to lose. So what you did before probably didn't work. Either it A, didn't get you all the way to your goal, or it B, wasn't sustainable, so you gained the weight back. Eating in a calorie deficit of mostly processed foods is not sustainable. Eating in a calorie deficit of mostly whole, real, natural, single ingredient foods is sustainable because you're going to feel better, have less cravings, Your appetite isn't going to be ravenous the way that it is when you're eating ultra-processed foods. And you're going to be in a better fucking mood. And when you're in a better mood and you feel better, you make better choices. You're not going to be bloated and lethargic. You're going to have some fucking energy. And it's going to help you fix your relationship with food. It's going to help you solve your food addiction. So much of why we're hooked on McDonald's and Coca-Cola is because it's chemically fucking designed for us to be hooked on it. You know what's not chemically designed for you to be hooked on it? Whole, real, natural foods, meat, fruit, rice, potatoes, and vegetables. It's what humans have been eating forever. And we've never been fat as a species until we started eating all this other shit. And we go, oh, I don't know why. Yes, we do know why. Yes, we do. And we know how to fix it. So here's what you do. Figure out your maintenance calorie calculators, like your maintenance calories using a calculator online, the way we talked about earlier. Let's say it's 1,800. Now let's say it's 2,000. We want to be in a 20% calorie deficit. So you got 2,000 maintenance calories. Multiply that times 0.8. And that's going to bring you to 1,600. Give yourself 50 calories on either side of 1,600. So 1,550 all the way up to 1,650. And I'm just guessing on these numbers. Your actual maintenance calories might be a lot higher. Mine was like 2,400. When you're really fat, your maintenance calories are higher than when you're skinnier, when you're lighter, because it takes more for your body to operate. So, but just stick with me. So you're at 1,600 with your 20% deficit. Give yourself 50 calories on either side, 1,550 to 1,650. That's your goal for every day. Now, if you don't want to count calories every single time that you eat, just take the 1,600 and divide it by the number of meals you eat per day. Let's say 2. That would be 800 calories a meal, lunch and dinner. Let's say 3. That would be 1,600 divided by 3, which is 533. Let's say 550. So if you're eating 3 meals a day, you want to be at about 550 calories per meal. Now go online and type in natural whole food or natural food recipes that are about 550 calories. Holy shit, there's your meal plan. If you just eat the foods on that recipe list, you don't have to count calories every single time that you cook. And you don't have to be obsessed with the calories and the macros and all this shit, because you already know that all of these meals have about 550 calories. Times 3 gets you to about 1,600, which is what you're aiming for. You don't have to count calories every day for the rest of your life and be obsessed if you just do the work up front to figure out how many calories are in the foods that you eat most commonly. Make 7 or 8 go-to meals. Write down the recipes on a piece of paper and stick them on a fridge. And then stock your kitchen with everything that you need to make those meals, and only prioritize meals that take less than 10 or 15 minutes to make. There's the whole fucking meal plan. Like that is permanent. That is sustainable weight loss. And then you lose a bunch of weight, and then you hit your goal, and then you go up to whatever your new maintenance calories are, and you recalculate after you hit your goal. Your maintenance calories might be 1,900 or 1,950, and then you just divide that by 3 meals. Go online and you do 1,900 or 1,800 divided by 3 is 600 calories a meal, or 700 calories a meal, whatever you're shooting for, approximately, give or take 50 either side, and then do the same thing. Now you've got 10 go-to meals that are going to help you maintain your weight, and you're not going to be fucking starving, and you're going to actually maintain your results. You're going to have a healthier relationship with food. Your blood work is going to be so much better. My biggest regret is that I didn't get my blood work before I started losing weight. I got my blood work done like halfway through my weight loss journey, and my metrics were horrible. Now I'm perfectly in the middle on every single metric, and that's been really rewarding. But I wish that I had it before I had made any changes to my diet, because that would be really great to go back and look at that improvement. But get your blood work done. Get your blood work done, and then do that plan for 2 months. You're going to lose weight, and then go back and look at your blood work done again, and tell me that eating whole, real, and natural foods doesn't positively impact your life. Calories in, calories out is true. Calories in, calories out is not the whole story. It's kind of bullshit, because it doesn't take into account the quality of your food. And the quality of your food matters just as much as the calories in your food matter, because more quality food equals better feeling, equals more sustainability, equals better relationship with food. Doesn't mean you need to demonize McDonald's and you can't ever eat it. But at least 80% of what you eat, you would greatly benefit from at least 80% of what you eat being whole, real, and natural foods. If you made it to the end of this episode, I greatly appreciate you being here. You're not alone on this journey. I've been there. A bunch of other people listening to this podcast have been there too. And to look at this wall and speak to this microphone and envision me talking to you and me talking to my old self, I just want to say that I appreciate you listening to so many of these podcast episodes. And and for giving me the space to share my life story. I hope that you find it valuable. Please leave an honest review on Apple or on Spotify or whatever platform it is that you listen on. It helps our community grow, and it helps this message get out to other people that might also benefit, hopefully, the same way that you are. If you're a regular listener to this podcast and we haven't met or we haven't talked yet, shoot me a DM on Instagram. I want to know who you are. So shoot me a voice note or a video note, and I'll respond with equal effort every time. And really looking forward to meeting those of you that I haven't talked to. And I hope that everybody has a great week. And we'll see you next Wednesday.